Well, hello everyone. It is April. Today we are here to do my November TBR. Of course, the cup is back. We're ready to dive in. Before we go into the cup, I do have to address my book club. If you don't know, I've got a little book club over on Patreon. It's so lovely. And I've introduced this new thing, which is very exciting, where my patrons get to decide the theme as well as the book. So I gave them two theme options for November. They chose World War II fiction about children being sent to the countryside in World War II. If you don't know, a lot of kids were sent away to the countryside to avoid all of the bombings, specifically in London, but I'm sure in other places as well. So I've got two books here. There is still time to join. If you would love to join, we would love to have you. The polls are going to be closing on November 2nd. So the two books that they can choose from, and maybe you can choose from, are Secrets of a Charmed Life and also Death at Greenway. So I'll start with Secrets of a Charmed Life by Susan Meissner. This is about two young girls in, obviously, World War II. So Emmy is 15 years old and she is dreaming of a career in fashion. And then her much younger sister, Julia, I believe, they end up going to Cotswold Cottage. And I believe they end up being separated at some point. I don't know if Emmy goes back to London. I don't know what happens to her. We also follow a woman in present day, a young American scholar named Kendra, who is interviewing an elderly woman named Isabel McFarland, who is an elderly woman. She is ready to divulge her secrets, starting with who she really is. I love it when books go back and forwards in time. It's just like my thing. So we could read this, or we could read Death at Greenway. In this book, we follow a nurse named Bridie Kelly, and she made a terrible mistake at a hospital. I don't know if someone died or what happened, but she is sent away kind of in disgrace, and she's sent to the holiday home of Agatha Christie. And at this countryside home, she takes care of children who have, again, been sent away from London, away from the Blitz, to safety in the countryside. Now, the home itself is just filled with all sorts of mysteries, as I imagine Agatha Christie's home would be. And a body washes ashore, and they have to deal with all of these mysteries. And it sounds wonderful. Haven't even hauled that one yet. I need some coffee, so just give me a sec. First sip of coffee of the day. Oh my gosh, sustenance. Okay, so now we have to dive into the cup. If you don't know, the deal with the cup is I've got a lot of prompts in here. We're going to pick out 4 prompts from the cup. And then I have to go to my bookshelves, find books that kind of work with those prompts, and read them during the month. So I'm going to shuffle these first. All right, first prompt. People on the cover. Okay, let me go to my shelves and see if I can find books with people on the cover. Okay, I've got 3 options. All of them I'm very much looking forward to. The first is a part of a series, a detective-y series that I've been reading. This is the Junalina series, and this is the next one in the bunch. This is Stalker, and you can see a man's shadow. And in this book, we find Junalina and the Swedish National Crime Unit dealing with the video of a woman in her home. They receive this video, they don't make much of it, and then hours later they find out that she has been brutally murdered. And then later on, the killer sends another tape, and they know that they have to track down this killer. Sounds really, really good. I'm nearing the end of The Sandman, so this will be the, I think, 5th in the series. Really enjoying that, so I'd love to continue on with that. And then I've got 2 World War II fiction-y books. It's November. I often feel like reaching for World War II. The first is Lady Clementine by Marie Benedict. I've never read her before, but I've heard good things. And this is just about Lady Clementine, which is Winston Churchill's wife. It's about her meeting him. Apparently she saved his life a couple of times, which I was surprised to discover. And then it follows her alongside him during the war and the immense pressures of that. Now, I mean, he did serve as prime minister after the war as well. I'm sure it will continue along with that, but I have a feeling they're really gonna be like heavy-handed with the World War II stuff, and I am not complaining. So there's Lady Clementine, person on the cover. Also, person with purple hair. Did she have purple hair? I don't know. I guess I'll find out. Next is The Last Train to London by Meg Waite Clayton. And this is about a young man. I think he's in his teens. He is Jewish. It is just before World War II begins. And there is a woman trying to get all of the Jewish children out of, I think, is it Austria? So it sounds like this is going to be very like heartbreaking and also heartwarming at the same time, because people were risking their lives to save others. So I'd love to read The Last Train to London as well. We need to pick another prompt. New release. Okay. Let's go to my shelves and see what I can do. Okay, so I've got 3 more books. That said, I mean, Death at Greenway is a new release. It just came out. But the rest, all in my hands here, are also 2021 releases. First is Comfort Me with Apples by Catherine M. Valente. This is a bit of a fairy tale inspired novella about a woman who believes that she has a perfect life with a very perfect husband until she starts to suspect something of him when he goes away on business. He's gone more and more often, and she starts to suspect something. And I don't really know what to expect from this other than like maybe a Stepford Wives kind of vibe. Although this says this is for fans of Gone Girl, well, like usual, and Spinning Silver. I like those 2 mixes. I've never read Spinning Silver, but very much fairy tale inspired. So there's that. You guys have seen this book on my TBR several times now. This is Mrs. England by Stacey Halls. This isn't even out yet in Canada or the US. I had to get this on Book Depository. I couldn't wait. I was not going to wait. This is about a nurse. It's 1904 in West Yorkshire. We follow a nurse named Ruby May, who takes the position of looking after the children of the England family. We've got little Charles and little Lillian and a wealthy couple who seem to have it all, and yet Mrs. England seems incredibly distant. She doesn't really look at her children. She doesn't really interact with her husband. Something is off about Mrs. England. And I think Ruby is trying to get to the bottom of that, but also not trying to, stir the pot too much, because she has secrets in her past that she doesn't really want out there in the world. It sounds incredible. And then I really want to read this, and I don't understand why I haven't yet. This is False Witness by Karen Slaughter. So this is about Lee Collier, who is a lawyer at a very prestigious firm in Atlanta. She has a very happy family. She's got a teenage daughter. Things are pretty good in her life. She has to take a case because her firm that she works for takes this case of a man who has been accused of having raped multiple women, and they are the defense. And so she goes to the jail to see him. I think it's jail. She meets him, and she discovers that she recognizes him and he recognizes her. She has a past that she would like to keep hidden, and he knows her secrets. And so I think the only way to keep her secrets secret is to get him off of all of these counts against him, all of these accusations against him. It sounds incredible. Karen Slaughter is always good, so I love to read that. This stack is getting huge. Okay, let's get another prompt from the cup. We've got 2 more. Ooh, out of comfort zone. Okay, so I have a book, but before we get into it, I just want to say there are landscapers here. You might hear some beeping in the background. My apologies. The book that I think is out of my comfort zone is The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I love the mystery aspect of this book, but there is like body hopping. So the whole premise of the book is someone was murdered in this kind of locked room mystery situation. Someone was murdered, and we have a protagonist who can literally wake up every day in the body of a new person. And he only has, I think, a few times to do this before he must identify the killer. I really struggle with that kind of thing where you're body hopping or time traveling. There's a lot of that kind of thing that I just don't buy a lot of the time. And so that is why this is out of my comfort zone. That said, it is a book that I have been really wanting to read. Last prompt. Let's see what this is. Color you are wearing on the cover. I get this all the time. What is going on? Okay, so I'm wearing reds, like a maroon with pink. I don't know how I'm gonna find this. Let's look around. Well, does that work? Kind of. There's the reds and the pinks. This is what I got. The Vanishing by Wendy Webb. I'm trying to remember what this is even about. It sounds like this is about a woman named Julia who is having a hard time in her life, and a stranger appears at her door and he asks her to take care of his elderly mother. And she has nothing to lose, and so she says yes. And she reaches this estate where his mother lives and discovers that she is horror novelist Amaris Sinclair, who Julia had always loved and really loved her books, but she thought she was already dead. She thought she was dead, but I guess she wasn't. And it is about the estate. Someone on the back here said, this is like The Haunting of Hill House and Rebecca. So that's a good sign. So anyway, those are all of the books. Oh, those are the books that I could read this November. It's a huge stack. Will I get to all of these? Absolutely not. The stack is enormous, but I'll get to a few of them. I'm really looking forward to them. Let me know in the comments below what you are hoping to read in November. Are you going to join us to read one of those World War II books? We love to have you over at the book club, and I'll chat with you very soon. Bye.